Welcome back to my channel. This is Lori, and I am here today with a bit of a haul. Hi, readers. It's time for my September haul, and what's interesting is I didn't use any birthday money for any of these books. In fact, my birthday money is sitting in my purse right now, probably burning a hole in my wallet trying to get out to a bookstore. But I did okay with what I bought before my birthday, and then I kind of put a stop on it because it was getting a little out of control. So let's start with the audiobooks I purchased on Libro.fm. The first one is Falling by T.J. Newman. I had wanted to read this one. I read her other book called Drowning. And T.J. Newman is a former, I think she was a pilot, who writes books about problems on a plane. I didn't want to listen to this before I flew for my trip this month, and I thought I was going to be flying in October, but I'm not. So I may be able to get to this one this month coming up. But Falling, interestingly, is very similar to a series we watched on Apple TV. And I tried to research before I was filming this today to see if this is the adaptation of Falling, because there was some buzz about them making it into a movie, and I cannot confirm that that is the truth, but it certainly sounds very similar. So Falling is about a pilot who is in the air with his passengers, I think 135 passengers, but don't quote me on that, on a flight out of New York. And then he discovers that his family has been kidnapped, and there is a demand for him to do something to be able to ransom his family. I don't want to know much more than that, except I will say that Drowning was very fast paced, can't stop listening kind of a thing. And I was actually glad I listened to it. So I decided that I would go ahead and get Falling on audio as well. The next one I purchased on Libro.fm in audio because Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library started talking about it, and it seemed like it would be right up my street. So it is called Going Zero, and it's by Anthony McCartan. Going Zero is about 10 Americans who were selected for a specific sort of research project around some spyware, and they were going to be tracking all of their social media posts and things and interactions online for a study of a company or a project called Fusion. And the goal is to see if they could track wherever they were, depending on where they were posting. This one has obviously some you can come to some conclusions, right, about what probably is at work here. But also, there's one particular one of these 10 people that were selected for this project who's a librarian, and there's a reason why she really wanted to be a part of this project. So there's kind of an understory about her for sure. I don't know if there's an underneath story about everyone else. It's being sort of compared to Michael Crichton novels, and I did always enjoy a Michael Crichton novel. I certainly never read all of his, but I was a big fan. I'm going to give Anthony McCartan's book a try. And again, I'm kind of excited that I got it to listen to, because I think Lindsay said it was great on audio. So that seemed like a good idea to me. I'm going to start with my book of the month selections. They're always the first ones that I share because they're the first ones that I usually haul in each month. This is The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa Matlin. It is a horror kind of book about a haunted house that this woman purchases and is going to renovate, and then discovers that upstairs some things are happening that are pretty spooky, creepy, and it's just perfect timing for me to read in October. So this is a new author to me. I don't know if this is her debut, but she's a mental health advocate and she loves dogs and was in a rock band and is from Melbourne, Australia. And she has a golden retriever, which I do too. My golden retriever actually is a little under the weather these days, but I think she's turning a corner today. Anyway, this is not necessarily a Halloweeny cover, but I'm okay with that. I'm looking forward to it. The back says, a gruesome history, a hostile neighborhood, a new owner with a shocking secret. Welcome to Blackwood House. I love it when houses have a name. We named our house that we lived in before this one. We have not named this one. This one has been on my radar for a while, and I had never gotten it. I think I heard about it on the Currently Reading podcast, Patreon content, maybe the free content, I'm not sure. But Katie Williams wrote this book called My Murder, and it's been out for a bit, but not terribly long, I don't think. This is not her first novel. This came out this year, so I'm not too far behind. The other novel that I'm interested in, if this one is good, is called Tell the Machine Goodnight. Okay, so this is speculative fiction mystery. This character's name is Lou, and Lou had a great family, was happily married, and everything was fine. And then she was murdered by a serial killer. So then she's brought back by this government project and returned to her family. But then she wants to figure out how and why she was murdered. And I'm not sure what the government project has to do with any of this either, but it sounds stunning. So I do love this cover actually too. I got to the library to pick up some library books, and this one was there for 50 cents. I didn't own this one. I don't remember reading this one. This is a Lord John Gray standalone novel by Diana Gabaldon. It's pretty chunky for some of her standalones or some of her other series that she comes outside of the Outlander space with, but she has written several about Lord John Gray. And a lot of people have mixed feelings about him. But I mean, I enjoy him as a character. I think he's pretty well developed. It does have Jamie Fraser in it as well. And I think that this is how they meet. Yeah. Soon, Lord John and Jamie are unwilling companions on the road to Ireland. A return to the world, Diana Gabaldon created an Outlander and Lord John series. Epic history, wicked deceit, and scores that can only be settled in blood. My library's book sale room has hardcovers for 50 cents. And again, this one is in excellent condition. I couldn't resist. I really, really couldn't. Krista from Books and Jams the other day, she was unhauling her bookshelf. She was redoing her bookshelves. And so I picked up The Night Sister by Jennifer McMahon on Pango as a result of her purge. So this one is The Tower Motel in London, Vermont. Amy Piper and Piper's sister Margot were girls who played there, and now they're adults trying to move on. And I think they have to return to this place to discover what's actually happening there. I love this cover. I have read other books by Jennifer McMahon. This one was published in 2015. So this is an older one. But I do like Jennifer McMahon. She's pretty creepy. I could read that in October. And then Inspection by Josh Malerman. I loved Bird Box, and I think I will love this one too. This one is about a school where there are a small number of boys, and they are prodigies being trained up in art and science and different cultural kinds of subjects. And they're kind of isolated in this space, and they can't, I think, see the real world or experience the real world outside where they are. And so the student named Jay suspects that there's something out there that the person who founded the school doesn't want them to know about. And they're out in the woods, out of the middle of nowhere. Then he discovers another student whose name is Kay, And she's also asking the same questions about her school. And I'm not sure if he discovers her online or what, but I'm assuming. And then they both kind of start to work together to try to figure out what's happening to them and around them and why they're being held hostage. It's blurbed by a bunch of people that I don't know of, except for Chuck Wendig. I've never heard of any of these other people, which actually is often a way that I find out about other good books. So that's, but I love this cover too. That's a gorgeous cover, color. And I do love Josh Malerman. He has some pretty cool sci-fi, fantasy, not fantasy, usually kinds of speculative fiction, really. I guess they're not even, this one might be a little more sci-fi, I'm not sure, but they're speculative fiction typically. And then I got this one too, but I got this at my local Barnes and Noble for a shopping spree I took earlier in the month. And this one follows Kit Lamb, and it's right before college. She plays basketball, and they're talking one night over, like in the woods over a fire, about this kind of ghoulish story about a girl named Daphne and what she did to people. After the story is spoken aloud in this group, one by one, these members of her team go missing. So the question is, did they sort of awaken this beast that is Daphne, and how are they going to survive that? Yes, not too long, and I'm in for that. That sounds like a great, scary, spooky read. Okay, while I was in DC, I got two books at one of my favorite bookstores, and this one came as a result of my friend Sarah recommending it to me in the store. And because she's a bookseller and she's obviously a booktuber and she reads a lot and we have similar tastes, I said, sure, I'll try it. So The Divine Rivals, I've been hearing a lot of buzz about this by Rebecca Ross, and I was like, oh yeah, I've seen that. And she said, oh, it's really good. So I'm going to read this to you because it's just perfect. It's just perfect. Okay. When two young rival journalists find love through a magical connection, they must face the depths of hell in a war between gods to seal their fate forever. All right. Fantasy. Got it? Yes. After centuries of sleep, the gods are warring again, but 18-year-old Iris Winnow just wants to hold her family together. Her mother is suffering from addiction. Her brother is missing from the front lines. Her best bet is to win the columnist promotion at the Oath Gazette. To combat her worries, Iris writes letters to her brother and slips them beneath her wardrobe door, where they vanish into the hands of Roman Kit, her cold and handsome rival at the paper. When he anonymously writes Iris back, the two of them forge a connection that will follow Iris all the way to the front lines of battle for her brother, the fate of mankind, and love. Divine Rivals is an epic enemies to lovers fantasy novel filled with hope and heartbreak and the unparalleled power of love. Now, you might be saying to yourself, didn't you just say in another video that you hate enemies to lovers tropes? I do. But Sarah said this was good, so I'm going to give it a shot. I really am. I think that it'll be fine. I think it'll just be, there's a little bit of that in Fourth Wing as well. So it's all good. Okay. And then I picked up Sherry Lapina's new Everyone Here Is Lying novel, and I already finished this. So spoiler alert for my wrap up. Sherry Lapina does neighborhood mystery thrillers really, really well. This one is no exception. Lots of people, lots of great content. And again, I'll tell you more about that later, but not too much because obviously you just don't want to know when you go in. I also got Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. Knowing that I was going to be in the month of October soon, I picked this up when I picked up Daphne because it was a buy one, get one 50% off. And I have been interested in this for a while. And so it was perfect timing. I love this cover. Okay, this one is about Mallory, who's just fresh out of rehab and is hired by a couple to take care of their son, Teddy. And Teddy draws a lot of pictures. And then Teddy starts drawing some things that are a bit disturbing, like a person dragging a dead woman across the floor. And so this one actually does have pictures in it too, which I'm super excited about. Teddy's pictures are in there. That was a little bit of a woo for you. Okay, so got those. And then I also picked up, because I had just been given the NetGalley copy of book number 3 in the Matthew Venn series, which I did not own, I went ahead and picked up both the part 1 and part 2. So I've read The Long Call. That was my first one. I've not read The Heron's Cry, and now I have book number 3, which recently came out on NetGalley, but I have not gotten to that yet because I kind of want to read them in order, hence the decision to go ahead and get the 2 of these, and then I'll later add the other one. I like these a lot. I liked The Long Call a lot, and I feel like I will like the other 2 as well. Matthew Venn is a great detective character, and he I guess kind of what happens a lot for him is he returns back home, which is not a place that he particularly loves. There's a lot of murder that happens in his hometown, and I like him. I have never read the Vera series, and I would not mind doing that, but it's quite lengthy. But these are, maybe not going to be as lengthy. I don't know, but I would love to get on top of that so that by the time, she keeps releasing more and more and more, then I'll just kind of I'll be caught up, hopefully, right? I really, really, really want to not haul so much in the next couple of months before the end of the year. My partner is concerned that when the bookcases are complete, I will have too many books to fit into them. And I appreciate her concern given the space that we had in the other house. That's entirely possible. So I may be doing a brutal purge very, very soon. But for now, this is what I hauled, and I'm happy with it. Let's hope that I can make it through October with maybe a book of the month, and I don't know, maybe nothing else but a book of the month. I think I did. Didn't I do a month where I didn't haul anything? I think I did. I could get behind that in the next couple of months. I think I could. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me. Let me know what you bought in the month of September. And if you've read any of these, let me know that as well. I would be interested to see that. And as always, happy reading. Bye.